My man, can you hear me? Are you muted?
Look at that. Look at that. Yes, I can. I can hear you. You can't hear me, but I'm here.
What's going on, my man? How was your week?
I'm doing well, bro. I'm doing well. I'm excited to be in the building. Definitely looking forward to this show. And all
Yep.
week, just been processing um, things happening in the world.
Yep.
Uh, how we fit as
Yep.
individuals and as a body of people. And this is our part that we give back. Like, and I hope everybody, I hope more and more folks are getting the opportunity to tune in as we get closer and closer to hitting optimal level. You know,
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we on our way. Definitely, Rob, corporate trauma is definitely catching on. Um, a little bit more and more every day. Um, and you speak of current events, man, every time I turn around, I see something that, directly relates to the theme corporate trauma and what we're trying to uh, do as service, as you so well put, right? To allow those that will listen the ability to acknowledge something that has been going on that we all recognize and
facts. Yep.
we we have defined as corporate trauma, and so and I've been itching to have this episode. This is the money episode, right? This is
This is what the people want. This
right,
is
right, right. The money side of corporate trauma, right? I was trained in faith that in my religious studies that marriage is half your faith. Well, if corporate trauma is part of your experience, the money
Mhm.
side of corporate trauma is half the experience, right? And let
Ah,
me say why, Rob, because
yeah, you can tell me that. You got to tell
half
me.
the stuff half the stuff that we put up with that lead to the corporate trauma experience, if we had the dough, if we had the money, and if we had the wherewithal to
Hmm.
insulate and protect ourselves with the revenue. I don't care how little you make, right? But if you got a little something stashed away for a rainy day, you know, Johnny attitude and Sally passive aggressive is not
Hmm.
going to really impact you because you could do your thing. You know what I'm saying? And alleviate yourself from these situations that we stay way too
Hmm.
long in, and that we realize and it contributes to the corporate trauma experience. And those of y'all listening out there, man, shout out to the corporate trauma community. Put a like, put a comment in the comments if you agree. If I had my money right, like Kanye tried to tell us way back in the early 2000s, you know what I'm saying? If I had my money right, I wouldn't necessarily be dealing with this. And you don't have to be rich. You don't have to be filthy wealthy to
Hmm.
to really be able to make some moves to prevent yourself from the numerous aspects of corporate trauma. What you think?
I'll say this. Sometimes folks think that if you got your money right, um, things just get better. Sometimes when you got your money right, it stops you from having to deal with certain types of nonsense, right? Certain
Right,
people can't talk to you a certain way when you know you got your own.
right,
When all that you have is coming from someone, some group of people, and this is what you count on, it makes you move different. You can't really even enjoy your dream. You can't even enjoy your passion when everything about your life is wrapped up into it. And you know that, hey, I got to suck this up. You ever hear somebody say that to you? Yeah, I had to suck that up because I can't afford to lose this job, right? I can't afford not to be able to do X, Y, Z. And I know folks will be like, but yo, that's just life. It's so often the things of life for folks who are broke, folks who don't have no money. When you poor, it's just a matter of fact, like it's just life. And I get it. But it's something we got to get to a point where we look at it from that standpoint and say, hey, How do I get out of survival mode and start thriving? Me and all my boys, we always talking about how do we get to a point of we no longer just survive, we thrive. And if I got to go to work and put up with nonsense from folks who are not as smart as I am, haven't seen what I've seen, haven't survived and made it through what I've made it through, why, how does it all make sense? So at some point in time, we got to get there and just say, hey, let me start to focus on me in a way that I can truly break free from the nonsense.
And you know what's so surprising too, Rob, with all of the experts out there, with all of the schools of higher education and all of the fields of endeavor and degrees and subject matter that you could become an expert at, and none of it, very rarely in these environments, and we've had one or both of our feet on a college campus for several years, right?
Yes, indeed.
Why hasn't someone on a large scale stepped up and say it is just not feasible in a capitalistic free enterprise society to have all your eggs in one basket financially? That's just not that, like, and
but that takes away workers though.
Facts,
right?
Facts. Yeah. But all in one basket though.
Listen, if you got all your eggs in one basket, that mean that you won't leave. You can put up with everything that I'm saying. You might lick the floor. You'll let me smack you in your head. You'll do all types of things because you understand I control the board. I control the game. I control your money. And ultimately, I control your life and your household. It's not too many folks who want to give up that power. It's not too many folks who want to create leaders and bosses and those who are in charge to actually serve. They want people who actually can, hey, I need you to serve me. I ain't trying to serve you. So if I teach you how to be your own boss, if I teach you how to be your own leader, then who gonna lift up my chariot and walk me through the water?
But help me understand this though. I can understand why 20 years ago, right? And I'm being conservative with 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, 70 years. I can understand that was the trajectory. That was the way to be taught. We're building, we're still coming out of post-industrial America. And then obviously in different parts of the world, those eras, vary at different time frames. But it's like, it's 2021. We still teaching folks to have all eggs in one basket. And I'm being the advocate here,
I know. I know.
But corporate trauma is is the back end of an experience that a professional has when they are being controlled, to your previous point. You know what I'm saying? And money and money, your revenue stream, your diversified streams of income is either to your benefit or it's going to be to your extreme detriment, depending on the situation or where you come from or what you have at your disposal. You understand what I'm saying?
And that makes a lot of sense. The one thing I definitely would say, why would something change when the people who created the rules and the game are still winning? It doesn't matter about the year. It doesn't matter about the decade, what millennium. If you create a system and you still have people who are willing to operate in that system and you win when they come into the system, why would I change it? Right? Everyone, it's sort of one of those situations when you think about, what is it? The like equity.
Yep.
Everybody want to be on the same page. Well, where's it coming from? Somebody got to give up something. I got to give up. Well, I earned all this. I don't know. No. Only time somebody's changing something is if the thing that they're changing it to is also beneficial to them. Folks ain't trying to get what they need.
Well, let me ask you this, Mr. Paradigm Shift, Mr.
I'm gonna drink some water.
Hey, do you see? I see things changing. Well, not things. Part of the corporate trauma experience is to give and here's another SAT word for you, Rob,
Here we go.
anthropomorphic reality to this thing that we call our professional lives. See, people have a habit of saying the work, this thing, and creating concepts of inanimate objects. Yo, we are talking about other people, right?
Correct.
And so I want to be very intentional when I say I see other people, I see young people specifically shifting the paradigm away from having all those eggs in one basket. Do you see that? And if you do, is it happening fast enough, or what's your opinion on that?
I see it happening, and like we talked about on episode 1, whatever episode that was a long time ago, the millennial generation it represents a group of people who bought into the idea of what something could be, especially the older ones, like in my age group. And you got smacked with the financial crisis, then you run into COVID, then you run into folks running up on the Capitol, and then at some point in time you realize I better start to focus on me.
Right.
And whether it's through social media and we're hearing more about history and realizing that the more autonomy I have, the better off I am. And I think that's if there's nothing else that makes sense to folks, it's that idea of you don't own me, sucker. Like that's just my, like, you don't own me. And wife was hit me up early and she said, did you hear about, yeah, all right, name drop. Did you hear about Google? They said if you don't want to work
hold up
in the office,
name drop.
name drop. If you don't want to work in the office, you taking a pay cut. And I said, well, how much money could the pay cut be? Like, I didn't get the chance to do all the research. And I was like, man, that's tough. I'm taking a pay cut. I said, depending on how much this pay cut is, and I'm gonna go wherever it's gonna make it it's gonna equal it out to. I don't care if I got to go to Alaska. Well, at least when things are warming up or something. Wherever it's warm enough, I'm in there. But when you think about it, the system will always push back.
Right.
Things are changing, so I don't disagree with you. The people in some form or fashion are waking up, but the system is going to push back on you. The system is not about that light. The system is about they need order.
Mm-hmm. Yo, there's a district in Florida somewhere where the powers that be in the school system in this particular area in Florida, I believe it's Florida, said that if y'all enforce, I think it was the state of Florida said, if y'all enforce the mask mandate, I'm going to withhold your paychecks.
Or was that Georgia? Yeah, that was tough.
Now, and that's right in line with your point. You know what I'm saying? So this is where the money side of corporate trauma really, really matters. Like, somebody pull a stunt like that, what goes through your head if you haven't been proactively planning and doing things in order to anticipate somebody pulling a corporate trauma stunt? Like, that's a corporate trauma stunt.
That's a corporate trauma stunt, and we're talking, and it's a battle of beliefs.
Right.
And at some point in time, folks got to really think about it from a standpoint of wherever you fold, you may just stay. Right? Wherever your last stand, this may be your last stand. But when you raise that white flag, they already look at you as someone who is not down with what they're about. Wow. You put your flag up on this hill right here, you shall not come down. And I just think this is one of those moments. And I tell folks, if just speaking from the standpoint of someone who's a part of the diaspora. After the death of George Floyd,
Right.
I said to myself, and I said to any of those who I cared about, I said, this is the time we push forward. Because the eyes and the ears are open. This is not the time when we say, hey, kumbaya. This is the time where we go on offense and we really start to push for what we believe and we stand our ground. Right. And if we're talking about kids and if we're talking about those who are in the workplace, and if you feel like you're uncomfortable and you feel like your health is at risk, I hope you got some warriors with you. And I'm not talking about just physical warfare. I'm talking about the whole gambit, because these folks do not lay down and they don't go away quietly. So we got to look at it and say, we're going to push forward. And I hope that that's how folks are looking at it, because they're going to take your money. They're going to take your job. They're going to take your house. They're going to take everybody.
Yeah, they don't play fair.
They don't.
And
they don't.
They don't play fair. And this is the time to figure it out, right? This is the time to kind of lay out in your mind and envision, what you're going to do for yourself and your family. This is the time to pool our resources.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about intellectual resources.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? As well as financial. Like this is time to get together and pool those ideas and those ways. And I mean, hateration got to die right now. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like ego tripping and the overly competitive to the detriment of everybody type of behavior. This is the time where it's time to really reevaluate all of that.
I know we don't have a lot of time, but I want to throw you the alley.
Okay.
And I know folks, they see, but I don't know if they know. The conversation that we're having about corporate trauma, the conversation that we're having about economics, and we're rolling into this, the impact of the conversation that was had by the two brothers, the two honorable brothers that's on your shirt.
Right.
That the impact that would have truly been felt if Dr. King wasn't taken as early from the conversation from your shirt.
Right.
The ripple effects, because the king that we saw come out on the video, the scruffy one that talked, was after that conversation, if I'm not mistaken.
That's facts. Right.
And so I want to bring that up because I want you just to share just a couple of pieces, because you wore the shirt. So I want to acknowledge it, because I know what that meant. And if we pay attention to how he came back out and the words that he shared, if we truly listen to him from that conversation, we might look at the world a little bit differently today.
Yeah. After sitting down with the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and having this conversation, a lot of people don't know that this wasn't the first time they had if I'm not mistaken, a letter correspondence, much like what we would do today with email and text message. They had been corresponding with each other and decided to sit down, and the collecting of the economizing of factoring out differences and building on the things that we can agree on, right? And then moving out and showing that as an example to the people was a impact that we can't even fathom, because it happened before, it happened before I was born. But when the newspapers and media got a hold of that, Dr. King and the members of the Nation of Islam were getting together to go and confront poverty and economic empowerment, you had two very powerful ideologies and philosophies that had people behind it that were now going to, the Nation of Islam always stood for economic assertiveness and pooling your resources and doing for self. But now you had Dr. King bringing the masses of the people that he influenced along with it, that he was able to enumerate in that speech, He was using terms like self-asserted manhood and withdraw your dollar. And if somebody's not treating you right, like you shouldn't be spending money from them. And he started name dropping, and it became a conversation of a different color. And unfortunately, you know what I'm saying, he didn't make it much longer after that speech he gave. So that's just an indicator, Rob, of how powerful it is to think collectively instead of individually, right? That forces the power structure in the system to respond. And are we ready for the response?
And I know we got to get ready to transition, and I would just leave it with this one piece. Nothing more powerful and frightening to those who are in power than the unity of the people who they think don't know a damn thing. It's nothing more powerful. And the idea that you could have those who they consider to be radical and those who they consider to be passive to say, let's not think about what mode of transportation we want to take, but let's just think about the goal.
Exactly.
Right. And that's the piece till this day. That's the piece that we struggle with even now.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful segue to our guest. And man, I've been really, really excited about having this conversation. Not only is our guest I believe is going to give us a major contribution to this conversation tonight. I know this brother personally. He's a friend of mine. You know what I'm saying? Yes, and as we get older, we realize what friends are. And I heard somebody that I respect very highly say that a friend is not just someone that you cool and you hang out with. A friend is someone who would sacrifice, a significant part of themselves to make sure that you are better. And as the old joke goes, when two people come into a room and it was like, yo, man, where'd you find this guy? Man, I just found him on the side of the road. When I tell you, I literally found this man on the side of the road.
At the bus stop.
We was in college, Rob, and I was driving a 1968 Buick LeSabre. It was 58. Forest green, and it was about 50 feet long. And on every corner of the car, every fender, every bumper, every door, every quarter panel was a dent. and I rolled down the crank window at that time, right? I was like, yo, Kenji, hey man, you need a ride? He looked around. Ain't nobody looking. Yeah, I get in the car. You know what I'm saying? But even from day one, he was like, yo, I could save my dollar, right? And put it to use somewhere else and get into the car with this person, this brother that I know, but I don't know him very well, but it gives me an opportunity to network. And it gave us an opportunity to have a conversation and break the ice to, I was guarded at the time, and I didn't really know him well, but it was an act of kindness that brought us together. And it's really a great example of what you could do if you come out of your comfort zone and you get to know somebody, you know what I'm saying, and take the time to get to know somebody a little bit better. And that relationship has blossomed to, I don't make any, you could call my wife, you could probably call his, I don't make any financial decisions or moves without this man's perspective, without his opinion, because of the things that I've seen him personally be able to accomplish from humble beginnings, from when we were in our late teens and early 20s all the way up until now, that we've known each other for decades now. But Mr. Kenji Godfrey is an entrepreneur. He owns and runs two very successful businesses. Number one, Godfrey Tax Services, which is where he was able to make an impact on me and made me monetarily, revenue, and income responsible through teaching me what to do with my money through my tax returns, right? It's a very smooth access point for people that look like me and you, because we know we're going to get something back right? Larger than we may have already been able to accomplish. And through his understanding of money and explaining what you can actually do with this nest egg of money that you've been sitting on and how to make that grow is the reason why is a big reason why I'm a homeowner, is a big reason why, I ain't flat broke. You know what I'm saying? Because of this man's subtle yet intentional and direct influence. And his other business is Yellow Brick Road Enterprises, where he gives poignant yet uncomfortable, but very, very necessary and relevant, tough love financially to the people in his community. And he's on YouTube. You can subscribe to him. Some of the subject matter is the key to successful businesses. And let your children stay at home longer for free. Stop killing the financial patriarch, the importance of long-term investment strategies, right? Establishing this strategy instead of trying to jump in and get it a real quick win. Another post I really love is don't invest until you have an emergency fund. There's a lot of people out there jumping into that Bitcoin, jumping into the stock market. They see opportunities. They don't have no money in case something go wrong, which is a lot of what we're going to talk about right now. Stop surviving and begin to live, right? Is another post, and then building a legacy, and then his famous one, how much does a dollar cost? And he recently went viral with an impromptu video on YouTube speaking about PPP loan fraud and the implications of it. So I would love to introduce to the corporate trauma community my man, my brother, my friend, Mr. Kenji Godfrey. What's up, Kenji? How you doing?
What's going on, boss? How y'all doing? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Turn the mic up.
Exactly. You go make some people uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying?
Rhyming on a disco beat.
This is a very loving topic that I love, man, and it's something that's needed in our community. And at the end of the day, I just want people to have the feeling that I have. Remember, like back in the day, when you got a fresh song and you got some nice headphones, and you next to your boy, and you're like, "Oh man, you hear this?" And you give him the headphones, and you see him doing the same notion you doing, right? You're giving him that vibe. So it was like I have a sense of financial freedom that I've experienced for over a decade, and I want people in my community to feel that same vibe. Like, look, man, you can be a boss, and the perception of a boss is not really what you see on TV or you see on Instagram. You could be a boss with $100,000. You could be a boss making $50,000 if you play your game right.
That's right.
If you're not so entrenched in what society is telling you what's popping, and you go underground, look, you can come out and be a boss in a few years and be cool, right? So how did I get into like this money magnet? I call myself, or money mutant, What happened was coming out of college, right? I'm clean cut. I want to be a corporate Negro, right? I'm thinking this is the key to the American dream: the house, dog, wife, family, car, everything. Like this is the play. I'm gonna dress up in a blue suit, red tie, white shirt. I'm gonna shave my hair, my name. I'm gonna go ahead, clean as a whistle. Yes sir, no sir. Do my job, go home, eat my sandwich, get up, do the next day, right? So 2011, I get married, right? Everything's still cool, still corporate Negro, right? Then 2012 come, my wife is pregnant with my first child. August of 2012, I'm thinking I'm getting promoted. I don't get promoted. I get passed up for a promotion. It stung a little bit, kind of like a mosquito. It was hard, but it wasn't really bad. So they give you all the KPIs. Well, if you do this, right? The next year, they didn't say you will. They didn't say you will. They said you may get it. So I follow all the KPIs, thinking, oh, this is in the bag. I get up there. I remember mid-August 2013, I go in this office. They tell me I'm not promoted, right? So then I come out. There was a guy that came into my department a year and a half after me. He got it. I didn't. Now this is like, I'm distraught. I got an hour ride home. I'm in total shock. I get home, sit on my couch. My wife wasn't there. My daughter wasn't there. Man, I cried like a baby, man. I cried for like 30, 40 minutes. Like, how can I let them do this to me? Right? And then something came in my spirit, right? And it was like, Kenji, why are you crying? You never gave them the authority of correction over you. So why are you tripping over what they're saying? For what they're saying to you, you know it's not true. Why are you agreeing with it? And it's throwing you off your game. That day on that couch, that night, I prayed and I vowed to myself. I said, I'm going to start me a business. And I prayed to God and I said, God, as long as this job, this business that I create, I didn't know what it was yet. It gives me what my promotion would have been. I will never ask for another raise again. I never asked for another promotion. So December of 2012, December of 2013, I started Godfrey Tax Services. I go into the first year from January to April. I make a first year out. I'm net gross. I'm profit first year. I'm happy. You know, I'm going through work. I'm happy. I'm happy. Right. August 2014 come. They pull me in the office and say, congratulations, you did it. I'm like, it was like, you got promoted. I'm like, okay, cool, I'll take it. But you like, well, how the hell did it happen? And you didn't really go after it. The reason why, I found something on the outside that I was able to tap into, and it gave me myself back. So everywhere I went, it sprued out. You see what I'm saying? So I went to work. I was working and doing stuff on a whole different beam that it came out, that overflow that work. So because I was excited to go back home, right? So that's how I was able to get the promotion without even trying, because I said, to hell with the KPIs, to hell with what you're doing. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to take my power back, and I'm going to be my own man. And guess what? 2014, it's 2021. Guess what? I haven't got promoted since. But guess what? I didn't ask either. I didn't ask. Because what you're giving me on that paper, I supersede that on the street. So now I'm like Superman and Batman. I'm like Superman, Spider-Man. I'm a superhero. I go into an office and I gotta act like I ain't great. I gotta go in there and do a job, but they don't know what my name is out on these streets. So I go into work.
Can you slide over a little bit?
I don't cheat the game, right? I don't cheat the game.
On the side.
The wrong way.
Yeah,
it's off. Right.
Go.
So here we go. So I don't cheat the game, right? I go in there and give them their service, but that's where it stopped. I've been here 13 years, but now I treat it for what it really is. I treat it for what it really, really is, because now I know in corporate America, you have to have some type of insulation, financial insulation, to allow you to maintain your freedom and your physical freedom and your mental freedom. If you don't have that, you in trouble.
Financial
Financial
insulation.
insulation.
That's a beautiful term.
You gotta have
I'm credit for that term.
It's
I'm
an
gonna give you
insulation
credit the first 3 times.
It's insulation of finances that allows you to maintain your physical and mental freedom.
I like that.
Wow.
You gotta have it, because that's the essence of your being. If someone take that from you, you're nothing. You just paper in the wind. You blow from anywhere because you have nothing. You have no essence. You gotta do. You gotta go. You gotta do what they tell you. They dictate what you eat, what you drive, what your kids wear, where you go on vacation, and you have nothing. You have no ammo to fight.
Eggs all
I'm
in
not
one
going out like that, dog. I'm not going out like that. My kids will not see me hooped over, stressed out like that. They got to see me great. I'm their superhero.
So when times are difficult at work, you can go in with a smile on your face and folks trying to figure out why you smiling so much.
And it happened. It happened. It happens all the time. They like, why are you so happy? Why are you so
right?
I be like, lady, you just don't know. I'm balling out here. I just got a check in the bag. Listen. It's no exaggeration. Like when I say I want you to feel the vibe, I get paid 26 times out of my job. On my mama. Majority of the time, I don't know when I get paid. They could be robbing me. I don't know. Because I'm not going to work because of a job or I got to pay the bills. I go to work because that job fits into my legacy. It's a component of what I'm trying to do. And once that job does not fit into my component, it has to go.
Right.
And I have enough put up where if it don't, I could just leave. I'm at will just like they are. And it's happened before, not with me, with my spouse, right? She had her job. They giving her hell, right? They find out we got a new house, she got a new car. They find out this stuff, start treating her funny. You know how the game go,
right?
And they start treating her funny. So she getting up the one day for work, and she like, having like a little bit of anxiety. I tell my wife straight up. I said, tomorrow can be your last day. You don't have to go back to work. She looked at me. She said, okay. She not there no more.
Superhero,
man.
Superhero.
Right.
Just speak the word. I mean, it's like I'm not trying to get all biblical or anything, but this is my thing. We were made in the image and likeness of God, right? So we're a replica of him, right? We're a replica of him, right? So if we're a replica, you take a 49er jersey authentic and a 49er replica. Now one got more embroideries on it or whatever, right? The other one is thing, but at the end of the day, it's still the same jersey. Right. So the same jersey is good enough to wear on the field, right? So let's bring it to the God sense, right? If you say you are an image and likeness of God, you should be able to do things that God does. So that means you should be able to think of something in your mind.
Come on.
And bring it to fruition, not once, not twice, constantly. You should be able to do it. Once you get that type of mojo, not cocky, but mojo that you can do this on a consistent level, can't nobody tell you nothing. Like Kanye said, they can't tell you nothing. All they can do is either agree with you or disagree and leave it at that.
Get out the way. Get out the way.
And that's where you want to be, especially as a man in this world. And you got a family, your kids, they're gonna pick up patterns that you walk by. I walk around nowhere, tell my kids, your daddy's a bad man.
I'm a bad man.
Because you can't have nobody. You always have to be on offense at corporate trauma and the workforce. You have to be, regardless of who you work for. You got to have some type of leverage. You can't be on defense and they tell you what to do, how you want to do it. You got to have something in the bag where you could be like, you know what? My spirit or my conscience doesn't go what you're saying, or sir, I don't believe. I disagree with. I disagree with you. But in order to disagree with somebody, you got to have something to stand on or something to fall on.
I got to jump in there, right? Because I want to make sure in my mind I want to touch on what I'm hearing.
Right.
I show up to work. I truly do believe, and I live by what you're saying. But I want to make sure that the folks hearing this, because I want to make sure they catch it. I'm not Superman in somebody else's building. I'm Superman.
Boom. That's it.
Right?
That's it.
I want to make sure I bring that forward. Right.
Right.
There's so many folks when they step outside their house and they step into somebody else's building.
Right.
They feel like that's when their superpowers are active.
Right.
And what you said, hey, when I go into the Daily Bugle,
right, that's right,
as the Black cartoon,
right,
they have no idea of what I'm
no idea,
but they get what they ask for.
Exactly.
They listen. What I signed up for in this relationship, in this partnership, you shall get, because that is easy.
Right.
When I leave
Right.
out of here and you like, who in the world is that brother who jumped over that building?
Right.
Yeah.
You may have no idea that it
No
was the dude who
idea
was sitting next to you,
to you.
who you think that you better than.
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly.
Because I
So
am the one.
Right.
In the words of Jay-Z, I
That's
am
it
the
right,
right
one.
there. I am the
right,
one.
exactly.
I
So
came, I
Kenji,
saw, I conquered.
have you ever been in a situation where somebody may have gotten an inclination of your secret identity
Yeah.
due to being
And I had
financially insulated?
yes, and I had to play it cool like Superman. When they almost found out him, I had to pivot, not lie, because I'm not gonna lie on my brand. I'm not gonna lie to
Mm.
you and say, nah, I'm not doing that. No, no, sir. No,
Mhm.
no. I'm not bound down to that. I'll just give them a little inkling of it. Like for instance,
Mhm.
they're like, because one time I think they found out, almost found out about my tax business. And she came to me and she said, oh, how's your tax business going? I said, tax business. She was like, yeah, I seen some pamphlets on your desk before. But she don't know I do free stuff too. So I said, yeah, that one. I said that one, right, is a part of my charity where I give, I do taxes for free, which I do. She don't know I'm making money off of it. But after that
Mhm.
day, I never bought my laptop in that office again.
Because that's none of their business. And
None of their
and and
business.
I think folks got to think about it from that standpoint. Wherever we're going, whoever we're operating with, you
Yeah,
represent your own business at all points in time, whether you have your own company or you
right,
don't have your own company.
right,
We
Right.
go into companies and we automatically take the subordinate position because they pay us.
right,
And something that I want to make sure that I get across to everybody. Every time we have somebody on the show, and it's one piece that I'm always going to harp on. Your time is more valuable than a dollar.
That's correct.
yeah,
Your
exactly.
Right.
time, nobody, and I don't care what nobody, people can't argue with me on this piece. You can't
Right.
give me
Right,
my time back.
That's right.
Kenji, that's why I
exactly.
appreciate you for coming on the show. Because I want to
Yeah.
say that every time somebody come on the show, but I can't give you your time back.
That's right.
No,
That's
I
the
have
one
not met
thing I
one
can't do.
person that could say, Rob, I got a minute for you.
Right.
nope,
What do
no,
they
sir.
say? Can I get a minute of your time? A minute of my time is life, right?
Right.
Because after
Mm-hmm.
this, because let's just when we really process it, if the show stopped, that could have also been all three of us gone as well,
That's
right?
right.
Right.
Literally.
Literally.
That's how like this thing sometimes we like, oh yeah, I'm not worried when I turn 65, when I turn 70, I'm going to do all these other things. You
No.
have the moment that you are living in right now to be
And
awesome.
right. You want to be
And that's
awesome
why
now. And
Mhm.
I'm not giving you 67. I'm out. Look,
Mhm.
on my board,
Don't
55,
drop
I'm
no
out.
gems.
55, I'm out. Listen, listen,
55
listen,
is gone.
listen,
hey,
listen,
that's
bro.
the reason why
Listen.
they give us money in the first place is
Yeah.
because they can't give us time back. So here, I'm gonna give
Mhm.
you this money so that you can spend
Right.
less time doing the stuff that you need to do. You don't have to go out and grow no food. You can go
Mhm.
Yeah.
buy it. You know what I'm saying? That's the only
Right.
reason why we get money anyway. But what you say,
Right.
Kenji, you out at 55?
I'm out. It's on my vision board. I work towards it every day. I'm
Mm.
not giving you 40 years of my life.
40
I've
years.
been working in corporate since I was 20 something years old. I'm not giving you 45 years. It's not happening. God willing. I'm not
You
doing
sound
it.
like me.
But
You sound like
but
me.
but listen, I
I'm
just
younger than
don't
you. Listen, I'm young every
I
time I
don't
step in the
talk.
building. Uh-huh.
But I just don't talk it. I don't like I
Right.
said
Mhm.
when I said when you take on them godlike tendencies, I put it to will. I will it to fruition,
Mm.
right? So I say to myself, what
Mm.
do I have to do? Because for me, I know myself, right? I spend time with myself. I know what's my triggers. If my kid's not taken care of, take me out. I pray to God myself. Literally, I'm gonna tell you how serious I am. I pray to God myself, and I asked Him. I said, if it's not in my fate, if it's not my fate to leave an inheritance for my children, take me the hell out of here and put somebody in my
Mm,
place. And I didn't pray it once. I
Mm.
done prayed it 4, 5, 6 times. If it's not my
Mm.
fate to leave an inheritance for my children, get me out of off this earth because I don't belong here.
mm.
I'm
Mm.
sitting.
That's how
That's how I set the
serious.
tone. That's serious I am. So
Mm.
what do? I say, okay, if I want to leave at 55, what has to be done? This house has to be paid off. So I'm paying it off faster right now. Okay, what's next? My kids' tuition got to be taken care of. My kids get 529 plans as soon as they come out the womb and not calculated. My kid's 8. By the time she turns 12, she gonna have 4 years worth of Temple University in the bag at 12. 12 years old, I'll be close to retirement. House be paid off. Cairo, he's going in first deposit August 30th of this year. I'm not playing. At that time, if my house is paid and my kids' tuition taken care of, I could be at Walmart swiping receipts. Only got to pay for the taxes. Only got to pay for taxes, dog.
Yeah, and you know what's so crazy? There are going to be folks who watch this right now and say, you know what, man, this dude just talking.
Okay.
And I want to make sure that I like people got to understand.
You gotta understand.
When he said not just the fruition, but he said truly having faith in what you believe. And I think that sometimes, and I'm gonna say it in that short version, just because there's so many folks who may praise and worship, they may go to a number of different places, but to put that faith into action,
it's a whole different ball game.
To put that faith into action is a whole different ball game. When you say, "Yo, I gotta get out here and stand on the water too."
Yeah.
Nah.
And
here we go.
You
can
like do
this,
that,
right? Right.
Not me.
It's like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a direct correlation between exercise and diet and planning and saving, right? Exercise and diet, right? Mm-hmm. It's a proven fact. If you exercise and you diet, you're gonna live longer, have a good physique, and you'll be right. It's a proven fact, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
People know if you plan and you invest and save, you'll be a lot wealthier. But when it comes to diet and exercise, I want that cheeseburger and some wings, and I don't feel like going to the gym, right?
Mm-hmm.
They'll say wealth and saving, yeah, that's cool, but look, man, it's YOLO. I don't have time for that, right? But it's like this: diet for food is your budget plan. You set up, you count up all the costs. You know what's coming in, what's coming out, right? And you put it together. Cardio is your saving. So cardio is like this. You might say, like I said, with your refund check, you put $1,500 up on your refund, put $125 up a month, that's $3,000 a year, times by 10, that's 30 grand. If you 23 come to college and you plan that, once you get in your prime, you got your FU money. You got 30 grand in the bank. And if you play cool, you got a budget, right? But it's like cardio. You may start out at 25. And cardio is with your heart. You come out, you got to bring it back in. You max your cardio rate. I cycle. So then I ride to what I can, and then I slow it back down. How does that correlate to saving? Right now, I only can save 125. Right? Come back. You get a promotion. You might pay some stuff off. Maybe I can move that to 30. I mean to 200. Did you work it this way? Okay. You come back. I open up a business. Now I can go from 200 to 300. You max the capacity. Right. And you come back. And over time, you're going to look up and you're going to be like, and like I said, saving is contagious. Once you see your first 10,000, you're going to go from 10 to 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 80, 80 to 160. And it's contagious. Wow. And like I said, you don't have to do it on a bunch of money. You just have to be disciplined. You got to have your diet. You can't ride around if you're only making 50 grand. You cannot drive a Lexus, my G.
And that crushes that excuse.
Right.
That crushes that excuse.
Right. It crushes it. It's the excuse killer, Rob. It's the excuse killer.
It says, "Oh, I can't save too much. I don't make enough."
Listen,
one of the people that I look up to, her name is Allie James, man, and she said, "You have to grow where you are planted."
Right.
It's so many folks, they're like, well, I'm not where I need to be, so I can't make moves yet. No, you dance on the disco floor that you have right now until you can get to another.
Talk it. And that's what it is.
So Kenji, man, oh my God. I gotta ask you this 2-part question, right?
Okay.
So, got to.
I gotta look, because you could, I don't know if y'all listening, this brother could keep going. Just on that point. Because you're inspired by it.
Yeah, I love
you
it.
love it. Right. You said that
every day. I'm on this. I wake up every day on this money stuff. And like I said, people might be a big thing as a facade, but call me if you lost. I do this every day. This is my life. Anyone that knows me, wife, my kids will tell you that boy by his money.
Right.
Period. And not just for me, it's a legacy. I have a vision on what in my mind that I see the end, and I got to get there. Hell or high water. I have to get there. I'm going to be the first millionaire in my family, hands down. It's going to happen. Amen. It's calculated. It's calculated.
Straight like that.
I'm not talking regular. I calculate it. I see it. This time's
ask that question before I say something else, Jamal.
I know. I'm trying. It's like having two Roberts on the show, man. Y'all can't come to.
I know he just told me he about to be. He already calculated that he's gonna be.
I didn't come here to play.
Now I gotta say something. Now I gotta say something. My bad. I gotta say something.
Go ahead.
Knowing who you are, knowing your superpowers before you go somewhere, understanding that you are your own business, calculating knowing where your money is going at all times, then being able to calculate where you see yourself being money-wise. Not just today, not just tomorrow, but the future. I don't know if folks pay attention or if they grasping or if they listening, but I hope y'all listening to what Kenji's talking about. Because when you process, he said, listen, I don't know if y'all know yet, but I'm already a millionaire because I already know it sounds like you could tell us when. Right?
Yes.
When you really think about that, on this day, there's some folks out there right now who are like, hey, I'm getting married on such and such 2022. Kenji just said, listen, if I wanted to tell y'all my business, I could tell you in 6 years, in 3 days, in 72 hours, I will be a millionaire.
I'm a millionaire.
And I'll buy you a cup of coffee when I see you.
I can tell.
I want Krispy Kreme donuts though. I don't drink coffee.
And if you follow me on Facebook, I post some of my business earnings on. I show you. I'm not. I tell you what I'm doing. I ain't gonna post $1 million though.
I know.
The tax bracket.
Okay.
It's coming.
I was about to say, take it easy. Yeah. Hey, listen.
I don't live now.
But just so folks know it's real, Kenji.
Right.
I'm gonna ask you a 2-part question, right?
Okay.
I'm gonna ask you a 2-part question. Because you don't just keep this information to yourself.
No.
You work with people, right? Because you love it, and through that work that you do, similar to the work that you did with me, right? What are some of the worst habits that you've seen practiced, right? That through people's money management that increase their corporate trauma experience, and what are some things that you could say about your own personal growth that can combat some of those worst habits? Like, what are you telling people from your own story when you see these habits? You know what I'm saying? If you could be specific, for example, while you get your thoughts together.
I'm ready. I ain't got it. I'm ready.
Oh, you ready? All right, go ahead.
I'm ready. So number one.
He locked and loaded. He said,
"Yeah, I told you I didn't come here to play." The biggest thing that I see is people value an image over a substance. So what they do is they want to look like corporate. They think, okay, if I'm rocking Gooey Louis Prada in here, I have arrived. So they use their dollars that they've worked hard for in exchange for material things, right? That's number one. Number two, what I see is when things get distraught at the job, they become unprofessional. When you become unprofessional, you lower your standards to them. So now they got you, right? I see that. And number three, the biggest thing that I see is you broke. If you're broke, you have no leverage. So in order to keep your dignity and pride, it doesn't come with the image. The image is only for outside people. broke is an internal mechanism. So you have to fix brokenness to feel like I said, I used to be in all that stuff. I remember I was a corporate Negro. I wore the stuff, Jamal, you know it.
Yeah.
But now I could walk around in a Target, a shirt from Target, a polo from Target, and a pair of Dockers and feel like $1,000,000 because I'm not broken physically, inside, and my bank account. So it doesn't matter to me, that stuff, no more. Because once again, I have a vision, right? So now while we're here, I want to take this time, right? We're talking about corporate. I want to take some time right here. And in corporate, anybody know corporate, there's a flow chart, right? Either your department or how the thing code, there's a flow chart. And that flow chart shows you how this thing works, right? So we're going to walk through a flow chart today. I need 30 seconds. Go out and get you a pen, a crayon, or whatever, and a piece of paper, right? We're going to do a flow chart, right? So what we're going to do. On the right side of that paper, I want you to draw a circle, right? In that circle, write database, right? On the outside of that circle, make a line, put job. Another line, put spouse if you have one. Another line, put kids. Another line, put family. Another line, put health. Another line, put exercise. Another line, put diet. Another line, put social experiences, right? Now, from that circle, make a line this way. Make another circle. Put your full government name in that circle.
Oh, they took him out.
Yeah, man. Somebody
They took him out. We ain't never.
Somebody was listening.
They took him out.
Ooh, they took him out.
I've never seen that happen before.
Wow. Well,
I've never seen that happen before.
You can't keep a good man down. I don't know.
What happened? So, all right, so we back. We ain't gonna trip on that. So now you got your name, right? You got your name. So upright now, you got one line. You got one circle here, line, circle your name. Now go up like an L. Go make another line this way, right? Make another circle. Right in that circle, legacy, right? So now you look at it. You see you have a database with all this information. You have a database, and all the outside stuff, family, job, all that stuff feeds into that database, and it feeds directly into you, right? When it feeds into you, you have to look forward and look into your legacy and what that vision is going to look like, right? So now when you see that, you have a 90-degree angle. What holds the legacy and that database together is you. You're the cornerstone. You're the cornerstone, right? So whatever's in that database that feeds into you that does not work has to go. But since tonight we only talk about corporate, so I can't go into the whole bag, right? So corporate, if that job got you with elements that you can't go get taken care of, or if it got you where you so distraught, bitter, angry, that job has to go. Because if it's pulling you off of being in direct 90-degree with your legacy, you'll never fulfill it because you're always getting plugged to something else, right? So it's like, well, how do you do that, man? You just can't walk off your job like that. What you have to do is you have to have a treasure, which I call FU money, right? So this is what you do. You have to build that. It's not going to be over. It's not going to be over time. It's like I said, which is what you do. You start a budget and you say, okay, be realistic with yourself. I'm not saying jump out the window. If you say you count your costs up, what your bills are, boom, 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 and you say, okay, I'm going to save, like I said, $3,000 or $1,000 out of your refund or whatever you're going to do. Start right there and consistently pay yourself, right? You have to look at yourself. If you're in corporate America, you are your own corporation. I look at myself as Godfrey Incorporated. What's the key function of a corporation? They want high profits, low cost, which gives you a profit margin, right? That's your salary. Even though you work for a job, your job, your W-2 is your income for the year as a business. You want a high profit margin.
Right.
Once you have that margin, you have to pay yourself. All corporations pay themselves. Apple has $1 billion cash flow. It's an entity. It's a person. Warren Buffett business, Brookshire, it has a cash flow. It has a bunch of money just sitting in the bank, right? So you have to 1,500, 125
Mhm.
get you 3,000. Over time, you put into that. And live below your means. I'm not saying be a minimalist. I don't go that route. I like nice things myself. But I don't live. We got approved for a $700,000 house. I bought one for 325. I could have a Lexus. I drive a Honda Accord. I'm 43. I've only driven 3 cars in my life, and I rid them all into the ground. So if you're out buying cars and I don't have a car payment, my money's going into this account, right? So over time, you look better than me, but I have more power than you. I have more influence than you, right? So if you scale back on that, 2 big things you could change. You cut your phone bill down and don't eat out all the time. Just cut those 2 things starting now. Why pay $200-something for a phone a month when you can't use that to 9 to 5 anyway? It's just sitting there, right? Why go out to eat? Breakfast in the morning, you stop in at Starbucks, $9. You got a snack, then you have lunch for $8 at Chipotle. Then you come home, you have dinner at Chick-fil-A. You're spending $20-something, $30 a day, times that by 5. Then you go on that Friday night or Saturday night, spending $30, $40. You calculate all them expenses up. Then you go on to Walmart, you go on there for some milk, and you come out there with a whole cart, right? Calculate all that up, and imagine if you just the urge of buying something, you put it in that account, and over time, you'll get your financial independence back. You'll get smarter, you'll get wiser, right? And then now, what happens is another thing with corporate America: the CEO does not know about the day-to-day. The CEO doesn't know what you enter into the system. He doesn't know what system you use. He's not concerned about day-to-day. He's only concerned about taking that company to a certain level. In your house, once you can get your mind off your day-to-day operations, and the only thing you have to be focused on is when it got paid, did it get paid on time, and I have money left over. Once those 3 things hit, that's all you should be worried about, right? And then when you do that, your mind can wander and dream on something else. You can dream about your vision about owning a business. You can dream about spending more time with your kids. You can dream about your delight because you're not worried about your day-to-day. You're not worried about being fired. You don't have to worry about your car payment. You don't have to worry about food because you created something, a mechanism, once again, installation, where you're covered from that for a period of time. And now you can dream, and in your mind, I'm telling you, your mind can go in places, like I said before, I'm 43. The life I'm living now, I dreamed at 33. I don't live in the now. I'm worried about my 50s now. How that's going to look like, what I need for that. So now I'm working on that. So when I get there, the table's already ready. I don't have to worry about it. And that's the thing. But if you're always in the moment, if you're always going by that YOLO creed, you're always going to be in the now. All great thinkers don't live in the now. They live in the future. And that's where you want to be. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. You don't want to be here. You want to be out. Your mind needs to be in the clouds, investing in yourself, and get your own hustle. Start out something with low risk, high reward. So if you bunk, you could do it again. But if you go out and want a restaurant and you put your whole 401k, your whole mortgage equity in it, and it goes to shreds, it's hard to recoup.
Yeah.
But if you start something 1,500 and they go dead, guess what? You can start again, baby.
Yeah.
You can start again. And then
Which,
now that first, go ahead.
Yeah, but and then you bring up a great point, right? Because
Right.
there's a big movement on people really focusing on what to do with their money,
Right.
and people are more money conscious.
Yeah.
The pandemic, right?
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that I know that you've always shared with me that I think is important for this conversation is the understanding of how much to balance your net worth in liquid assets.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Liquid.
Yes. So, like I say, people like to go out. Like the big thing is Bitcoin, and which is cool, right?
Mhm.
I'm not knocking it. I did win it too, but it's levels, like Meek Mill said. It's what you have to do. You have to have a savings first. You have to have a level at least. Look, first have $1,500 and an emergency fund, meaning if you need new tires, if your dishwasher break, daddy need new shoes, you can just go to that account, pay for it, and it's there. So that's your first buffer. Second,
Mhm.
your second one is your life budget, meaning to maintain your house, right? So you calculate all your bills, and you know if it takes $1,000 to run your household for a month, that means necessities, not cable. I'm talking about food, electric, gas. If you have a car payment, or at least if you have two cars, at least one car, your mortgage payment, the necessity stuff that you need. You calculate how much it is for that. Start out saying, I want a month worth. Then work your way up to 2 months. I prefer to have 3 to 6 months, but actually, because of COVID, get to a year. But you just can't start a year. Start small. 1 month,
Mhm.
okay, 2 months, and you work your way up to at least maximum, at least get to a year. Me, I'm 2 years now because of COVID, right?
Mhm.
Have that level. Then once you get to those things, I say once you get to 6 months, then you can invest. And then when you invest, don't put more than 10% of your net worth. So if it goes down, your house don't go down with it.
Mhm.
Don't put more than 10% of your combined net worth into the market. As you have more money, you can invest more, right?
Mhm.
Because you want to be able to keep your freedom and your mobility, right? If something when COVID happened, right, and they were saying, "Oh, layoffs is going to be the worst layoff," I slept good at night, man, because I knew I had an X amount of dollars in the bank and my kids were good. And if I didn't get hired for years, we were fine.
You were fine.
I wasn't worried
That's
about
the
no
key.
tax return or nothing like that. Them giving me my money back. I was fine,
Wow.
right?
Mhm.
That's what you want because if you can sleep at night, if the stock market go down, you're not
Mhm.
concerned because you don't have to pull it out. You can gain your money back because it's gonna bounce back, right? You can
Right.
keep it in there until it bounce back because you got your household savings 6 months in there. You ain't gotta pull your money out. But if you put it all in
Mhm.
there, the first thing when it go down, guess what? You got it. If you got 50,000 in there and it dropped to 10, guess what? You gotta take the 10
Mhm.
because you can't wait till it get back to 50 because you need it right now.
Right.
But for me, it dropped to 10. I could leave it in there and I can hold until it come back. And
Mhm.
that's a game you have to play. You see what I'm saying? But you can't think like that if your mind is always in the shallow. If it's always day to day and you surviving, you can't think high. You can't.
Right.
So you have to find ways to get yourself out of that and allow yourself to dream and think about it. You'll be surprised with this mind, this noggin you got when you don't have no weight on it, what it can do and what it could deliver to your life without you even thinking
Mhm.
about it.
And weight would represent
Pressure.
all the things controlled by other people, I would think.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because for me,
Pressure.
in my mind, that's the thing that I'm always saying to folks. It's like, how do you give other people so much space in
Hmm.
your mind to the point that you think more about them and what they
Yes.
think, what they care about, than you do your own priority? Their
Yeah.
priorities are now your priorities.
Right.
They don't
Right.
like, oh, everybody got a Gucci belt. Oh, well, everybody doing this. Everybody doing
Right.
that. Oh, or the people at work doing that. Oh, somebody got a Maserati. And next thing you know, when you see them, you go to their house and they in a little box. Like you get caught up with so much
So much
stuff
stuff.
around
Yeah.
these.
It's not real.
Yeah. It's real. I've
Mhm.
seen
Yeah.
it. I've had clients where I moved to their house. I mean, big houses, man. I'm talking about mansions, 4 or 5 cars in there. I'll walk up to their house
Mm.
and like, Lord, I don't have no business doing their taxes. I get in
Mm.
there. they broke.
Mm-hmm.
On the outside, they look like the best thing since sliced bread. But on the inside, if somebody lose their job, it's over, Hova.
That goes to some foundational pieces that I want to make sure
Yeah.
that folks catch. A
Yep.
lot of things that you've been sharing haven't just been about money. And I
Right.
know for some people, if they don't listen, maybe the way that some of us listen, they
Right.
may have glossed over it.
Mm-hmm.
At the foundational level, it was not just about money, what we've been
No.
hearing today. It was
Right.
about you as an individual,
And the
how
vision.
you approach things, how you
Right.
see things, how you look at
Right.
yourself, how you
Mhm.
feel about yourself, right?
Right.
How you feel, how you look at the not just the past, the present, but also the future, right?
Mhm.
If we don't take time to really address who we are, you could have all the money in the world and
Right.
still be broke and
And
broken.
be
And
right.
lost.
And lost.
Mhm.
And
And
lost.
lost.
And lost.
That's the piece that's the point that you hitting on, Rob, is it's not only that we broke, because you can re-up. You can
Right.
land a good job, somebody can help you out, you know what I'm saying? Something can happen.
Mhm.
But if you lost, it don't matter how much money you got, you always gonna be broke, because
Yeah.
you're gonna find out a way to give it away. You're gonna find out a way to give it back. It's really about finding yourself and
Right.
addressing those things that lead to what we talk about here, is that corporate trauma experience. And you have to address yourself
Right.
first.
And you have to do it for people. You have to do it for someone other than yourself. That's the key.
Mm,
Because when you get up in the
a
morning
grounding.
and it's not about you. When, like I said, my whole thing
Mhm.
is legacy. I do everything for
Mm.
my kids. When I die and they pull that veil back, I want to be glorious. I tell Jamal all the time.
Mm.
People might say I'm cocky. I don't want my kids to have to work for nobody. I
Mhm.
want to leave them an inheritance where they don't have to
Yep.
work for no one. Right?
Mhm.
So me knowing that I get up every day and that's my mission, I'm okay being John the Baptist. I may not see it all. You know what I'm saying? I may
Mm.
not. I'm paving the way for them. So then when they shine, just through not just through not just through finances, but
Mhm.
now because I got a free mind, I can instill in them things that wasn't instilled in me.
Mhm.
So now you give them the money, power, and respect. They dangerous. They
Okay, kiss.
dangerous. Yeah,
Okay, kiss.
they dangerous, man. I told you. I listened to them before we came on here, but it's just that's the
You
way
know
you got to
what?
approach it. When
You
it's
know
more
what?
than you, you got to get up every day.
Mhm. And you know what I like so much about that? Even when you bring up Jada Kiss and even thinking about how you approach things, staying grounded and finding a way to keep things connected,
Yeah,
worldly things connected to
connected.
real things that matter,
Right,
right? Because a lot of times folks have the worldly things being
right.
the foundation.
Their foundation, right,
And just amount, and when you think about it, worldly things being things that are created by men and women, those
right,
things shift all day.
right,
But when you're connected to something, whether it's the Most High or it's your family, however you view those things, however you
right,
mix them up,
hmm
that's yours. It's
right,
personal to who you are. But so often, so many of us, we get connected to things that are about other people. And when
right.
they shift, we gotta shift. It's sort
We
of
got to
like the
shift.
plates, like the tectonic
Right,
plates. You feel the earthquake, you have to adjust to the earthquake. That
right.
earthquake gonna happen regardless. Now,
It's go.
what
Yeah,
you get
right,
hit with, where you fall, is on you based upon where you are in
right.
your life.
Where you are in
You
life,
know, and
right.
it's so crazy listening to you, just hoping that people are able to realize as you look for financial freedom, as you look to make sure that you get out of getting beat over the head and within the corporate trauma system, that corporate industrial complex, being able just to process, let me always remember who I am.
Right.
Right. And
Right.
Man.
what am I showing up for? Who am I
Right.
showing up for? And keeping those things very, very present in my life. Because if everybody that we talk to, when they talk about folks that they coach, when they talk about individuals that they interact with, it's so
hmm
often that we always hear how people say they were lost. And I want to make sure that I say this piece also. If you see some of the CEOs who run the big companies at some point in time, when they're all done with that phase of their life, they say, for so long, while I was chasing those gains in the stock market and trying to push the company to here, I was lost.
Yeah.
Because their foundation, when you really think about it, they were just worldly things.
Right.
They were chasing things that shift all the time.
And a lost person can't lead you.
Nope.
A lost person cannot lead you. Kenji,
Right.
man,
Yes, sir.
Answered all the questions that I think me and Rob could ever have for you. As is customary on the Level Up Past Corporate Trauma podcast, we want to leave you with the last word. Anything that you want to address, anything that you may have left out, anything that we may not have brought up, anything.
It's just, I got 2 quotes. One that I thought about when I was getting prepared for this podcast. And the first one is, never allow a system to take your tenacity in exchange for trauma. Once again, never allow a system to take your tenacity in exchange for trauma. Number one. Number 2, this is not mine. This is not mine. I got this off Anthony O'Neill YouTube channel. He had a guest on there, and she said this one thing that is one of my top 5 quotes to this day. Okay. And it's been on my mind for months right now. And she said, and I quote, "You come into this world looking like your mother and father, but you die looking like your decisions." I'm going to say it again like Cisco. I'm going to say it again like Cisco. Okay. You come into this world. You come into this world looking like your mother and father, but you die looking like your decisions. So make sure when you wake up and you calculate the decisions for your life, be keen and be educated in how you make those decisions. Because when you die and they pull back that veil, it's going to tell your story. That's all I have, man. Sit on that.
Wow.
That's been on me for months, bro.
Wow.
Heavy.
Wow.
Heavy. And it was so heavy on me, I had to give it to somebody else.
Yes, sir. Well,
thank you for that.
Thank
you.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate the time here. And like I said, anytime, I'll be here. It's no problem.
Man, well, you have an open invitation to the Level Up Past Corporate Trauma podcast. If you hear anything, if you see anything that you want to share with our community, our audience, you have a platform upon which to do so. But I have a challenge, man. I want you to keep doing what you're doing.
Yes, sir.
And the service-minded leadership and contribution to those around you. Please continue to do so, because there's a very slim amount of people, Rob, that's talking with the same impact, urgency, and level of love about this particular thing, which is really traumatic for people.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Money and legacy and leaving a nest egg for those that we leave behind. Right. And Kenji and I had a conversation one time where, we talked about how people, after they retire, have worked their whole life on their whole career, and they don't last very long physically. They pass away after they retire, because we realized the only thing that was keeping them going was that corporate trauma experience at work, and they gave it all they got, to the point where their physical self had nothing left to give after it was all said and done. So this is a very important subject, and I hope people go back and listen to it again. And Kenji, we gonna let you go, but if you hold for a second,
yes, sir.
We'll get right back to you.
Okay,
thank
no
you
problem.
again. Thank you again for joining.
Appreciate you, brother. We definitely appreciate you.
Definitely appreciate
Dancing
it.
on a
My
disco
pleasure,
ball,
definitely. My
And
pleasure.
tell the people how they can get a hold of you before you go.
Yeah, so on, I guess I have a YouTube channel which I'm gonna start back up in September. Yellow Brick Road Enterprises, and I'm on Facebook. Just my name, Kenji Godfrey. You'll be able to look me up. I always have quotes and stuff like that on there, and that's it for now. I'm trying to be like you guys, trying to branch out a little bit, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
quite there yet. But I'm trust and believe I'm gonna get
be
there.
there.
Nah,
But
man, you
um,
there.
but yeah, those are
You
two
just don't
places. You have
know
any
it.
questions on financial stuff? Like I said, inbox me on Facebook, and I will get back to you as fast as I possibly can.
Mm,
Dope. All
awesome.
right.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
All right, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Woo! Rob, what you got? You all right?
Listen, folks know, especially if they know me, I'm always um, trying to drop some jewels and some gems. And when you're processing and you're getting someone who's doing gem dropping, you know, the best thing sometimes you can do is just listen. And Kenji, he laid out some things with all types of passion and sincerity, but also a very, very large sense of faith in what he believes.
Right.
And when we share that faith, sometimes people think it is cocky, right?
Right.
And I've gotten to a point in my life where if you think something cocky, that's on you to deal with,
That's right.
right?
That's okay.
Right, it's just on you. Between me being confident and you thinking I'm cocky, that's on you to deal with.
Yeah.
Because and I was just talking to one of my brothers earlier today, being able to really enjoy who you are, the work that you do, and not being afraid to be celebrated for the impact that you have on other people is key. And for
Right.
many of us, and I know I suffer with that myself, I just like to do the work. But being able to take the time and recognizing the impact that you make. So that brother right there, he understands that piece, understand where he's going, how he's setting it up. And, we got to celebrate him as well as ourselves. And that was an awesome conversation. So I'm happy we was able to get him on the show.
Yeah. And
How
not
about
only is
you?
he doing that, but look, man, not only is he doing that, he's bringing other people with him.
Mhm.
I'm a great example. He had to jostle, he had to wrestle with me, man. I remember one time we was hanging out, and I was like, man, I got to stop by the mall. I got to take care of something. And
Mhm.
this is back, I'm a reformed, recovering sneakerhead, right? You know what I'm saying? This is back when I was working for a major sporting goods store, sneaker distributor in the mall. And I went to another mall because they had what I needed over there. And so I was like, yo, we got to go in here. I got to take care of something. He's looking at me because I'm like, I'm not going to buy nothing. He was like, I got to take care of something. So I get to the cash register, right? I pull out, and those who know me personally know me as the layaway king. So I put back in them days, right? I pulled out a
Mhm.
receipt about 3 times as long as that stuff with layaway on it. And when he realized what I was doing, and when he realized because he know me, he was helping me with my taxes, and he saw what I was doing with my money. He didn't even have the heart to roast me on the spot. He was like, you know what? I'm leaving this. I'm gonna go down the hall right here because and he
Mhm.
later on he told me, he said, I couldn't
Can't
watch
even
you.
watch it.
I couldn't
Can't
watch you
watch
do
you.
that to your money. You know what I'm saying? And that's the type
Mhm.
of people you need in your circle, man. You show me your 5 closest friends,
Dude.
I'll show you your
Mhm.
future. And I'm so glad that brother's in my circle because what he's doing is adding on not only to his legacy, but to those that are close to him. And
Mhm.
folks, this is what the Level Up Past Corporate Trauma podcast is all about. It's about pointing out the issue that's called
Mhm.
corporate trauma, but this is not a vent session. This is acknowledging the wrong that is corporate trauma so that we can give you something real
Mhm.
in order for you to level up. So until we see you next Thursday, next week, we pray that everybody has a productive, blessed week. And we'll see you right back here next time. Hope you enjoyed yourself. Rob, excellent episode, man. Can't wait to see you
Yes.
next week.
We did it again, brother. Enjoy your night.
All right. Peace, peace.